St. James, Portmore, where you say? Walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
DJ, teacher, up top,
Sting them like a hubcap.
Up Top Podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We are back at it again. Episode 4. We're here. You know, it's Final Four edition, y'all. What's going on? It's your boy Steamo.
It's your boy Tsunami Tommy.
Welcome everyone again to Up Top Podcast, Season 4, Episode 4. And this is the Final Four edition here. We are so happy to go ahead and share with you again the latest news, updates, sports. Of course, making sure that you guys are understanding what's going on in the sports world. And we are just happy to be able to go ahead and bring you guys the latest here at our podcast episode. And we just want to go ahead and continue to inspire everyone up top with say. That's all we're going to do.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we definitely want to go ahead and take the time to thank everybody again for listening to episode 3 as well. That was just actually tuned into that. And of course, we want to go ahead and right into episode 4, which we have a very special guest on our show today. He actually has been a very knowledgeable guy in the sports world and actually has been very inspirational outside of, knowing exactly what's going on in today's sports. And we've actually taken the privilege and honor to actually welcome him on the show. But before we actually do, we want to make sure to go ahead and share his actual page of that he actually talks about on his show. And the name of the title is called Nothing But That Sports Talk. And you could definitely see here he actually has been a journalist with a range of skills in multimedia, writing, debate, and interviews. I mean, if you could tell from the videos he's interviewed some quite celebrities and athletes already on his show. And I could definitely see that he's actually been growing to make sure that he keeps up with the latest. I see that he just actually went ahead and talked about literally the Final Four recap. And, you know, this is the Final Four edition here at Up Top Podcast. So we want to definitely go ahead and take the time to acknowledge and appreciate his time spending on with us on Up Top Podcast. And without further introduction, we want to go ahead and let everyone know that we actually are welcoming Mr. Rafiki Louis Hassan from Up Top here podcast. We want to thank you so much for taking the time.
Yes, sir.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you, man. And how are you doing today, mister?
Hey, man. It's an honor.
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm glad I get to spread my sports knowledge with some of the best and up and coming sports publications.
Yes,
sports
sir.
podcasts across the world.
Definitely. Thank you so
Great
much for
opportunity.
joining us. Yes, absolutely. We definitely want to
Mhm.
thank you for joining the Final Four edition here at Up Top Podcast. So we just want to go ahead and get into, more about your background, man. Give us a quick background about, how Nothing But That Sports Talk actually started and, what made you actually create this show to make sure that it's not only locally in your area, but it's also worldwide. People actually can watch it anywhere around the world.
Well, Nothing But That Sports Talk actually started off as Nothing But That B-Ball Talk, and B-Ball is short for basketball. So I initially made like a basketball podcast where I do strict audio recording while doing a class called podcasting with Tony Dofat, who's a music producer for B. Diddy. Just name one artist. And he produces so many different musical artists, but he actually taught a podcasting class, and I started my podcast through that. And after that, once the semester's over, in my college days at LIU Brooklyn, which is where I graduated, shout out to the LIU Sharks, even though back when I went there, they were the LIU Blackbirds. But that's a story for another time. Right? But getting back to my story, I even when the school year is over, I literally just committed to my podcast and building everything from the ground up. I mean, I started doing episodes with my cousins and my friends at LIU Brooklyn. But it wasn't up until like literally the late June, early July, where I started doing video episodes, pretty much letting everybody know who I am. And actually, a year later, I started doing consistently. I did my first event as Nothing But That B-Ball Talk, covering a Bowling for Peace event. And then from there, I covered some summer basketball, I covered some WNBA, mostly through Zoom. And I've also covered some college basketball. And just recently, like last year, I was at the WNBA draft. The year I leave Boston was the number 1 pick. and I was at the WNBA Finals. Yeah, you know the WNBA Finals matchup with the Aces of Liberty last fall. Y'all know you know the vibes.
Yes, sir.
Yup, yup.
I covered some college basketball cases as well at the Big East tournament and the Atlantic 10 tournament twice. So I've gotten myself prepared for episodes like this. And now you see how it grow.
Yes, sir. What a resume already. Wow.
Yup. Yeah. Listen, he a veteran.
That's awesome, man. And it's crazy, like, you just never know where your history and your story could actually lead you to. And it's very important that people actually understand nothing but that sports talk. I mean, it's actually showing how you actually are creating a great wave of knowledge in sports, not only just in basketball, but of course you can go ahead and let people know exactly, more about how you can actually work in the media department. And of course, I know the media is not easy, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, us being also hosts of a podcast show, it's definitely not easy. You always get criticism some way, somehow. But there's always going to be great feedback. And just tell me a little bit more about, what you really liked about starting this show and what made you actually continue to keep going.
Just getting the opportunity to be able to interview several sports fans, media professionals, and athletes from not just America but across the world, and not just do audio recording like what you guys do right now, but at the sporting events itself. I mean, I'm actually my own journalist, deal with other media publications like CBS, Fox, and NBC always does, but I do like in my own way. I'm the I'm the video recorder, and I'm also the interviewer at the same time. I mean, I film the games, I interview the players, here's talking about it, and I also make sure that I don't just talk about the stats, the X's and O's. I talk about their basketball background. I talk about why they got into basketball, and I get to get in-depth storytelling like what you guys do when you interviewed with Bianca Peart and many different people prior to this podcast. With me being on it, shout out to Bianca Peart for that. By the way, she's doing a
Yes,
phenomenal
sir.
job. I know she's going to get into the sports industry.
Nice.
You hear it first. But yeah, besides the point, I just like being able to connect with many different people and meeting all the beautiful women in sports media that cover the WNBA and college basketball. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Wow, man. That's a
Yeah.
blessing, man. I must say, for you to be able to go ahead and take the time to do that and also acknowledge especially our women in sports. That's a key thing, especially knowing that it's mostly males that actually we hear about all the time, but it's like the females have to get that love and recognition. And of course, we see here you rocking the WNBA hoodie, so that's what's up. You also support the WNBA and seeing the movement that they're actually following, man, and to see how women's basketball has also grown. It's definitely a great opportunity for you to be able to interview athletes. And can you tell me what was one of your favorite athletes that you actually got to interview or got to talk to?
One of my favorite interviews I've actually done was this Diana Taurasi interview, like literally the post game for Game 3 of the WNBA Finals. That one went viral on SportsCenter. I mean viral. I'm talking about Overtime in This Basketball. We published it. The Diana Taurasi fan page published it. SportsCenter published it that night. That's actually one of my favorite interviews. And also Ari Tomer from Bleacher Report and Christina Williams from Girls on Sports TV. I interviewed them with my oldest cousin. Shout out to him, or second oldest cousin rather. But yeah, I did it at the small studio located in New York City, located in the New York area, man, which is like a few blocks away from Madison Square Garden, where Christina Williams currently contributes to. And yeah, that's my interview with Diana Taurasi right there. I mean, I'm not talking about that interview, but I'm talking like years ago during like when the final series between the Mercury and the Sky, which is a rematch of the 2014 series. And another one of my favorite interviews actually is Tina Servasio, because that was a full circle moment, because I actually took a photo with Tina Servasio when I went to the NBA draft in 2015. That event I went to as a fan. And then funny enough, life came as a full circle because we went to the WNBA Finals. I reached out to her. She agreed to come on the show while being part of Fox 5. That was a good interview. And another interview I'm never going to forget is when I interviewed this lady named Madison Kershaw for Whistle Sport. Where not only did I get to know her background, but I also got the best of her brain by making her do the start, bench, and cut questions, choosing between some of her friends in the sports media landscape, who she start, bench, and cut, and she was like, "Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? I didn't cut any of my queens." And then she also told me that story about how when she recorded a video of Diamond Miller being drafted to the Minnesota Lynx last year, even though I dropped a lot of points on her, and I told her, how is she the WNBA? You're not. And the last one,
Damn.
and the last one I
Damn.
can't interview. The last one I can't rule out. I mean, quick intro. I forgot to mention I went to Fordham University for grad school, and I was part of this radio station called WTV Sports. Shout out to them. I managed to interview this young girl named Gigi Spiels, who's doing a phenomenal job in arena hosting for the women's and men's basketball commentary. She also contributes to the Next as a content creator. I got to interview her in the post game for Game 4 of the WNBA Finals, and I feel like we showed a lot of growth talking to each other in the microphone compared to the workshops we did when I first came to Fordham University as a grad student and she first started college. So yeah, that's some of my favorite interviews, and I can't rule out my interview with Monica McNutt, MSG commentator, ESPN commentator. I can't rule out that. I can't.
That's major. Wow.
Makes sense.
Wow.
Makes sense.
Talk about up top with Seth.
Right.
Man.
Makes sense.
All right, man. That's a major accomplishment so far, man. And I mean, you actually could say
Yeah.
that not a lot of people get the opportunity to do that. So, here at Up Top Podcast, we definitely got to give you your flowers, man, early. There's only more that you actually are going to be able to interview long term, and to see, the growth that you're actually seeing on your sports talk show. It's just a blessing, man. And I keep telling everyone out, you just never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to have the opportunity to find. And man, like, just to see you actually having the ability to be up close and personal to these athletes and these also celebrities, it just goes to show you, man, you just have to continue to keep striving for success, man. So I definitely see that you actually really like what you're doing, and that's what's most important.
Exactly. I would not have done it without
Facts.
my family, my friends, and my cousins. Like seriously, and I'll never forget that there were some times where my shows could get a little intense. I mean, I did a show one time where my friend Ryan Walker, who's done a phenomenal job with all the work he does with Nothing But the Sports Talk, and one of his people named Patrick Pollard, at one point they did a heated debate about the LeBron Michael Jordan debate. The famous debate that's been going on in the sports world in recent years ever since LeBron came into the league. And then recently, they had a heated debate talking about St. John's and Duke. I mean, Patrick Pollard is a graduate from St. John's, and my guy Ryan Walker, he went to Cheney University, which is an HBCU school, one of the oldest HBCU schools. But he's a Duke fan. They duked it out on the air, and it kind of gets you laugh. I mean, I don't know how the on-air talents on ESPN for say keep the composure when heated debates go down. Like, and all I can do is laugh, because when you're doing these podcasts and debates, it tends to get a little intense.
Gets intense, yeah.
About their teams that they either root for or schools that they attend. It just shows the passion and the growth of how knowledgeable they are about their teams.
True.
That's true, man. That's very true. So, I mean, definitely, it seems like you definitely are understanding exactly the likes and the dislikes about, working in the podcast, as well as the on-air multimedia talent, where people actually have to bring their opinions and thoughts, and, it has to make sure that everyone is actually understanding, connecting well. So everybody is actually on the same page when it comes to these debates on which player or which team is the best out there. So, I mean, definitely kudos, man, and shout out for you to be able to continue working well with these special talents of people that are out there in the world, man. Tsunami, you actually got any questions for our guest today?
Yeah, and like I said, a couple of questions. Just about 2 questions. I just wanted to, ask him and said, what was the mindset that you have on, like you said, on a day where if you didn't know what you wanted to do, or if you didn't know what type of content that you wanted to put out, like you said, just give me like one little thing that made you or motivated you to keep going on one of those days.
Just watching my friends actually land their jobs and achieve their goals, that we wanted to do more for Nothing But That Sports Talk, because it's one of those days where you have to actually get it from the ground up. And another motivation is make sure you watch other content creators, see how they gone viral, see all the connections they made. Like a year ago, I had Alex Tricaster from Knicks Fans TV. where they do a lot of the Knicks content. They may not be in the field interviewing the players in press conferences and just as often as I do, but they found their own way to get their media life off the ground. They're on SNY, they're on Pix 11, just so much they can do. I mean, and you gotta know what people are talking about and make sure that whatever they say incorporates to your point of when you're talking sports. And if you guys are going to continue to develop your craft and up top, you have to literally be on top, not just in podcast virtual interviews, but try covering some events, cover some high school basketball, cover some college basketball. Miami has like this Miami Pro League that go down the summer every year. I mean, also you
Yes.
got Florida Atlantic. You go back to your alma mater and try to cover some Florida Atlantic games, or any of the least focused college basketball, and work your way up to the most focused basketball teams in college. And well, obviously they don't have a WNBA team down there, but they do have the
No.
Miami Heat. They
Yes,
do
we
have the
do.
Miami Heat. They do have the Miami
Right,
Dolphins. They do have the
Hmm.
University of Miami. You gotta get yourself out there more. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with the virtual world, but get yourself out there because you never know what's gonna happen. Because all it takes is one viral interview or two, and people will come on your show more. The way you got
Yes.
Bianca Pierre to come on your show, the way you got many other special guests to come on your show, they're gonna come on your show as well when you go out there covering college basketball in high school.
Yes,
Seriously.
man. I appreciate that. We definitely appreciate
yeah,
that
man,
actually.
yeah,
Hearing that from you, especially
yeah,
knowing that, it's not really what you know is who you know, and the more and more you actually expose yourself out there, and that's important, especially for an upcoming podcast like ourselves. We want to make sure that people are actually know who Up Top is, and we go with our motto saying "Up Top we say." So it means we're going to the top. We just don't want to continue to feel like we're still staying stagnant. We want to continue to rise above and to show people like who we are and where we're going. And this is just a great platform that we can go ahead and share our ideas and views to everyone out there in the world to know, okay, like these guys are really knowing not only their sports, but they're actually going into these events and seeing the players, they're actually interacting with them. And we see that it will actually change a lot. It will really help boost, our platform as well moving forward in the future.
Exactly. And even though
yeah.
the viewership might
Facts.
not come right away, you just have to give people a reason to watch. That's all you gotta do. That's all you can do.
Definitely.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
All right.
Yeah, no, you think, yeah, very good stuff.
All right, man. And then as far as like, you know, future aspirations, any goals that you have this year, with nothing but that sports talk. I mean, I like the name of the podcast or the show. I mean, the way how you actually go ahead and interact with your guests. I mean, it's just showing that you really are in tune with what's going on in today's sports world. Back in the days, it wasn't like that. It was just like, all right, heated debates, and people are just not really trying to listen to what people are saying. But now, we live in a day and age where again everything is visual. So how you actually present your information out there to the world is how people are going to listen or pay attention. So do you have anything inspiring that you would like to accomplish, with the show or moving forward, and maybe any celebrity or athletes events that you would like to interview?
Who I would like to interview is Stephen A. Smith. I mean, come on now. But my voice and his voice, we could duke it out all day long. Like seriously, that's one of my favorite interviews I would like to do. I could say Kevin Durant, but I've already
Oh
interviewed him
yeah.
virtually during the Olympics in 2021, so that dream's already accomplished. But also, what I would like to do is hopefully one day try to get other media talents to come on my show. I mean, I already mentioned Bianca Beard a couple times. She covered a Columbia men's basketball game against Penn University for nothing but that sports talk. I mean, if not with her, then many other media professionals, I'd love to get them to contribute to nothing but that sports talk. And that's another thing too, is actually to land a job in sports media, do my
Mm,
own media business that I'm trying to build from the ground up. Even if it's the contributor or behind the camera guy or contributing writer, my goal is to actually get get people to want to work with me,
yeah,
talking,
absolutely,
writing, and my camera work. That's pretty much it.
man.
Yeah, yeah,
you
man.
you
That's some good
literally
stuff.
you literally have everything ready to just share with the world, man. And I feel like again, nothing but that sports talk is going to continue to uplift others, especially those that again don't know certain sports that we cover, in today. And then at the same time, and you actually are, I could tell you're from New York because the accent is
Brooklyn, New
also
York, to
there.
be exact.
So you mentioned this
Mm-hmm.
Stephen A. Smith. I know he's also a former fellow New Yorker as well. So I mean, especially
Collins,
I know.
Queens, stand
Okay.
up.
All right, you hear the shout outs here up top. So I mean, it's very important that people actually understand nothing but that sports talk, as well as making sure that they actually can see your work that you're putting in outside and inside, and knowing that you're not just dealing with these athletes and media professionals, but you're actually showing how you're dedicated to your craft and showing how motivated you are to continue to see the success. And here at up top, we always say, you know we don't just start from the bottom. We're going to continue to start from the top, and then we're going to go higher and higher, because that's the way how we actually approach each and every guest that we come on our episode. So, here at the Final Four edition, man, we here season 4, man. To have you as our special guest today, man, it's a pleasure. I mean, we have so much more in store going into this episode. So, Tsunami, I definitely want to make sure that we go ahead and get it into the next segment soon, and we're going to go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
make sure to come back and let you guys know here at Up Top Podcast, season 4, episode 4. We're going to get right into our next segment, which is going to be the Final Four recap. And man, so much to talk about on this episode, Tsunami. What you saying?
Man, it's like you said, when they tune in, man, it's gonna be crazy because a lot of people, for both men and women, a lot of people did not expect that showdown to happen. So, stay
Stay
tuned,
tuned. Stay tuned.
please.
All right. So here at Up Top Podcast, it's season 4, episode 4, Final Four edition. It's your boy Stemo.
It's your boy Tsunami Tommy.
This is Rafiq Luzar
All
with
right.
nothing but that sports talk.
Yes, sir. All right. And we'll be back. Stay tuned. We got more to come.